Cuando no entiendes el dolor, confía, Dios no falla. Levántate, confía y rompe el miedo y conquista cada batalla invisible que intenta detener tu propósito. Avanza con poder, declara victoria sobre el sufrimiento y transforma el dolor en fuerza imparable que eleva tu destino hacia lo alto. Despierta tu espíritu, rompe cadenas invisibles, desafía la oscuridad y conquista el mundo con valentía. Por cada prueba es una puerta hacia tu grandeza divina. Siga adelante sin rendor, porque Dios guía tus pasos, abre caminos imposibles y te levanta para cumplir un propósito eterno. Confía hoy y conquista tu destino eterno ahora. You know, I need you to understand something deeply in your spirit right now. The pain you are going through is not a punishment. It is not proof that you are forgotten, and it is not evidence that your story is ending. It is a process, and every process has a purpose, even when it feels unbearable while you are inside it. Because here is what we often misunderstand. We think that if something hurts, it must be wrong. We assume that if we are struggling, something has gone off track. But what if I told you that some of the most important transformations in your life will never feel comfortable while they are happening? What if the pressure you feel is actually the place where your strength is being built? Think about it like this. Nothing valuable is formed without time, pressure, and shaping. Seeds don't become trees overnight. Gold is not purified without fire. Diamonds are not created in comfort, but under pressure that would destroy anything weak. And in the same way, your life is being shaped through moments you never asked for but desperately need for where you are going. There are seasons where everything feels like it is breaking apart. Plans fail, doors close, people leave, and prayers seem to echo in silence. And in those moments, it feels easy to believe that God is distant. But the truth is, silence is not absence. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually protection. And sometimes what feels like loss is actually redirection towards something greater than what you had in mind. You may not understand it right now, and that is okay. You are not required to fully comprehend the process while you are still inside it. You are only asked to trust that the same hand that allowed the pressure also knows the purpose behind it. Because nothing that touches your life is wasted when your life is held by a higher plan. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what is this shaping in me? Because pain has a way of refining your character, strengthening your faith, and removing what cannot go with you into your next season. It strips away pride, builds endurance, and teaches you to depend on something greater than your own understanding. And I know it is not easy. I know there are nights when you feel like giving up, when the weight of everything feels too heavy to carry. But even there, you are not being destroyed, you are being developed. So hold on, don't quit in the middle of your becoming. What feels like breaking is often just the beginning of building something stronger than before. And remember this, it is not punishment, it is process, and the process is not finished yet. Listen closely to this truth because it can change the way you see your entire journey. Not everything that hurts you is harming you. Not everything that breaks your heart is meant to destroy you. Sometimes what hurts the most is actually what is pushing you toward the life you were meant to live. We are conditioned to think that comfort means goodness and discomfort means danger, but life doesn't always work that way. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come wrapped in pain you didn't expect. Some of your deepest healing will begin in moments you wished you could avoid. And some of your strongest versions will only appear after seasons you thought you would not survive. Think about how growth works. When a muscle is strained, it has to experience resistance. That resistance creates tiny tears, and those tears are what allow the muscle to grow strong. Without that stress, there is no strength. And in the same way, your life is often being strengthened through experiences that feel uncomfortable, unfair, and even overwhelming. There are moments when life removes people you thought would stay forever. At first, it feels like loss. It feels like something has been taken from you. But later, you begin to realize that not every presence was meant to remain. Some departures are protection. Some endings are redirections. And some closed doors are actually saving you from paths you were never meant to walk. Even failure, as painful as it feels, is not the end of your story. It is feedback. It is direction. It is life teaching you what doesn't align with your purpose so you can move closer to what does. Every disappointment carries hidden instruction, even when it arrives dressed as defeat. And yes, there are moments when the pain feels personal, when you question your worth, when you wonder why things had to happen the way they did. But pain is not always a reflection of your value. Sometimes it is a reflection of your transformation. You are being stretched, reshaped, and prepared for a version of yourself that cannot exist without going through what you are facing right now. So don't rush to label every painful experience as bad. Don't let temporary discomfort convince you that your future is broken. Some of the best chapters of your life will be written right after the pages that made you cry the most. Because what feels like breaking might actually be building. What feels like loss might actually be alignment. And what feels like the end might actually be the beginning of something far greater than what you left behind. So breathe, stay open, stay trusting, because even in the pain, something meaningful is unfolding. And never forget this, not everything that hurts you is bad. Some of it is shaping you into who you were always meant to become. I want you to hold on to this truth, even when everything around you feels uncertain. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. Just because heaven feels silent does not mean heaven is absent. I am still working even in the silence. There are moments in your life when you expect answers and receive none. Moments when you pray and the sky feels quiet. Moments when you wait for doors to open and nothing seems to change. And in those moments, it is easy to assume that you have been left alone. But silence is not abandonment. Silence is strategy. Silence is construction happening beneath what your eyes can see. Think about how much of life grows in hidden places. A seed does not break through the soil the moment it is planted. Before anything appears above ground, something powerful is happening below it. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. Foundations are being built in darkness so that what rises later can stand strong against storms. That is how I often move in your life. Not everything I do is visible in the moment. Some of the most important answers are not instant. They are being shaped in timing, in alignment, in preparation. What looks like delay is often protection from something you cannot yet understand. What feels like waiting is often preparation for something you are not yet ready to carry. And I know silence is uncomfortable. It tests your patience. It challenges your faith. It makes you question whether your prayers were heard. But I want you to understand something deeply. I do not ignore the cries of my children. I hear every prayer, even the ones spoken through tears, even the ones you could not fully put into words. But I also see the full picture, not just the moment you are standing in. And sometimes answering too soon would cost you something you cannot see yet. So I work in timing, not impulse. In wisdom, not haste. In alignment, not assumption. So when it feels like nothing is happening, trust that something deeper is unfolding. When it feels like doors are closed, trust that I am positioning you for doors that will not destroy you. When it feels like silence is all you hear, understand that I am building something in you that noise would only distract. Because I am not absent in your silence. I am present in your process. And I am never late even when you feel forgotten. So keep trusting even when you cannot trace me, because silence is never empty. It is sacred work in motion. And remember this always, I work in silence, but I never stop working. There is something you need to understand about your journey. Confusion is not a sign that you are lost. It is often a sign that you are being expanded. You are not falling behind because you don't understand everything right now. You are growing in ways that require trust before clarity. There will be seasons where nothing makes sense, where your emotions are loud but your direction feels unclear. You will ask questions and not receive immediate answers. You will try to understand what is happening in your life, and the more you think, the more complicated it seems. And in those moments, you may feel like something is wrong with you, but nothing is wrong with you. You are simply in a space where faith is being stretched beyond explanation. Growth is not always organized. It does not always arrive in a straight line. Sometimes it feels like chaos before it becomes clarity, and that is because transformation often happens in layers you cannot immediately interpret. You are becoming someone new, and the mind struggles when it cannot recognize the direction of change. Think about how learning works. When you first step into something new, you don't understand the full process. At first, everything feels unfamiliar, even overwhelming, but with time, what once confused you becomes second nature. What once felt impossible becomes natural, and what once felt like uncertainty becomes wisdom. Your spiritual journey is no different. There are levels you cannot understand from where you are standing right now, and that is not a weakness, it is timing. If everything made sense too early, you would not grow the capacity to carry what is coming next. Confusion forces you to slow down, to reflect, to depend on something greater than your own understanding. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like you are walking without a map, trying to make decisions in the dark. But even in that uncertainty, you are not directionless. You are being guided in ways you cannot yet see. Every step, even the uncertain ones, is part of a process shaped shaping your discernment and strengthening your inner foundation. There is also a hidden gift in confusion. It humbles you. It breaks the illusion that you have to understand everything to move forward. It teaches you to trust even when answers are not immediate. And that kind of trust becomes the foundation of deeper spiritual maturity. So don't reject the moments where you don't have clarity. Don't rush to escape what you don't yet understand. Stay present in it. Because what feels confusing today will become the testimony you speak tomorrow. And remember, this confusion is not the end of your understanding. It is the beginning of your transformation. I want you to let this settle deep in your heart. Nothing in your life is random. Not the delays, not the losses, not the closed doors, not even the pain you wish had never happened. Everything is moving within a design that is greater than what you can currently see. There are moments when life feels disconnected, like pieces of a puzzle that don't belong together. You look at your story and wonder how any of it could lead somewhere meaningful. But purpose is not always visible in fragments. It only becomes clear when the full picture begins. What looks scattered today may one day reveal perfect alignment. Think about how often you wanted something that didn't work out, only to realize later that it was protecting you from something you couldn't see at the time. And think about the doors that closed, even when you begged for them to stay open. At that moment, it felt like loss, but later it revealed itself as direction. Nothing is wasted in a life that is guided with intention. Even the detours you didn't choose have a role in shaping who you are becoming. They teach you patience, they build resilience, and they redirect your path towards something more aligned with your growth. What feels like interruption is often quiet redirection towards something you would have never chosen on your own. And I know it is not always easy to trust that. When you are in the middle of uncertainty, you want answers, not lessons. You want clarity, not waiting. But purpose does not always reveal itself in the moment. It unfolds over time. And in that unfolding, you begin to see that even your hardest seasons were carrying meaning you didn't recognize at first. So instead of asking why everything is happening, begin to trust that something deeper is being formed through it. Your life is not a series of random events. It is a connected story being guided toward a destination that is still unfolding. And when you finally look back, you will realize that nothing was accidental. Everything was intentional. Every step, every delay, every ending was quietly leading you somewhere you were meant to arrive. Because in the end, nothing is random. Everything carries a divine purpose. Listen to this with everything inside you, because this is where your story begins to turn. Victory does not come to the ones who never struggle. Victory comes to the ones who refuse to let go of faith while they are still in the struggle. There is something powerful about a person who keeps believing when nothing around them looks promising, when prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain closed, when everything feels delayed. That kind of faith is not weak, it is rare. And it is exactly the kind of faith that carries people into breakthrough moments they never expected. You have to understand the journey is not designed to be easy. If everything came instantly, there would be no depth to your strength, no testimony in your story, no foundation in your character. It is in the waiting, in the pressure, in the uncertainty where real endurance is formed. And endurance is what carries you to victory. There will be moments when you feel like stopping, moments when giving up feels easier than continuing, but something inside you keeps saying, don't quit yet. That voice is not random, it is the reminder that your story is not finished. You are closer than you think, even when it feels far away. Look back at everything you have already survived. Every season you thought would break you but didn't. Every situation you thought you would not recover from, but you did. That is proof that you are still here for a reason. That is evidence that you are stronger than what tried to stop you. And the truth is, victory is not always loud at first. Sometimes it begins quietly with a decision to keep going one more day, one more prayer, one more step, or one more moment of trust when nothing makes sense. And those small decisions become the foundation of your breakthrough. So don't abandon your faith in the middle of the process. Don't walk away right before the shift happens. What you are believing for is not as far as it feels, and what you are waiting for is already in motion. Because those who hold on, even when it hurts, are the ones who eventually see everything change. And remember this, victory belongs to those who never let go of faith. Cuando no entiendes el dolor de tanto momento vai respira. No estás perdido, estás siendo guiado. Onek tudo perska confuso, onek los respuestas no legan, hey, una verdad que permanece. Firme, Dios no falla. Lo que hoy no comprendes, mañana tendrá sentido. Lo que hoy duele, mañana será testimonio. No te rindas en medio del proceso, no abandones la fe en la oscuridad. Cada lágrima tiene propósito, cada silencio tiene dirección, cada espera tiene destino. Confía incluso sin ver, avanza incluso sin entender, porque al final descubrirás que Dios nunca te dejó, Él solo estaba preparando tu victoria.